So I started up the stream like every other day, looking to play some Football Manager and relax. And then Football Manager hits me with this. Another winter update. The winter update to the winter update that changes the game again. How do we feel about it, chat? How do we feel about it? You're back. I know you were worried. Update squared. They really just want to say hi to you guys on YouTube. Let's break down what's in the new update and how it's going to affect the way that you are playing Football Manager for the next 6 months. Stick around to the end of this video for some advice from Zed Lasso. So the winter update, I'm happy that it came out. I don't know how you guys feel. I'm happy that this winter update has come out because there's one thing that stands out immediately to me. It stands out immediately, and that is that there are tweaks for AI loan offers, reducing the likelihood of offers with no financial contributions. Essentially, what this is saying is that Football Manager has finally, I repeat, finally fixed the glitch where the offers coming in for loans were all for $0, and you couldn't loan anybody out for any amount of money, no matter how hard you tried, and then you just keep trying forever. Eventually, you became, a little depressed about it. Then it started to rain, and then the camera turned black and white for some reason, and then you were just one of those people all of a sudden that was just sitting there in a meme. And while that loan thing is great, it actually doesn't affect the Streamer Showdown, which is like the big Football Manager Championship. That is happening this weekend. So I drafted a team on one version of the game, and now we're on 22.4. So I have no idea what effect that's going to have. But network connectivity improvements for online modes have been added, which has got to be a good thing, right? That'll help the Showdown. We've got network connectivity improvements. And an obvious part of this update is the transfer windows that ended in February and the league's promotion and relegation stuff that's already happened outside of the European calendar. All of that stuff is updated in the latest database, so you have newer updated rosters, newer updated teams in leagues. But let's dive into the nitty-gritty. Let's be honest, that's what you came here for. Okay, this is much shorter than the change list from the initial winter patch, which is great, because I gotta be honest, I don't think I have the capacity to read a list that long again. Oh, or they're just being sneaky. Changes in the 22.4 update include, but are not limited to. So there are changes that they're not even listing in the extended change list section, which is an interesting lifestyle choice, but I understand if they're just fixing a few things that they don't want to bore you with. But of course, this is the change list from the original winter update, and it's incredibly long, and there are a lot of things that are not relevant to 99.9% of people. So it's interesting that they wouldn't include particular things. And they fixed keyboard shortcut settings in preferences. They have addressed an issue with the pregame editor not launching for some people. For the rest of it, it sounds like we got to go to Miles' blog. Okay, so this is Miles Jacobson. This is the director of the studio that makes Football Manager. You might know him from all the times I put on a wig and pretend to be him. We've changed FM22 to address the war in Ukraine. So let's give this a read and boil it down for you guys.
20 minutes later.
We've just finished reading through this on stream, and we've got a couple of changes in particular for new careers that you'd be starting on 22.4, but there are a few things that actually affect saves that are currently going. Now, Miles says you won't notice much of a difference, but if you're in Russia and Belarus, honestly, you just will. Your continental competitions will be played at neutral venues, and you can only arrange friendlies with clubs, in Belarus and in Russia. And so you will lose out on that European money that you get at home. And this is in saves that have already been started. And so no matter what happens, you will have those changes. But for new careers, there's actually a lot more changes. Some that I didn't think Football Manager was going to do. Completely understand, obviously, why they've done them. First of all, the Ukrainian League is still playable, even though it's been postponed in real life. But every other part of the war in Ukraine seems to have been added into Football Manager if you want to start a new game with the 22.4 database. That would be that Russian clubs cannot compete in Europe. There are no national tournaments for Russia. There are no national qualifiers. There are no national friendlies. And Ukrainian players actually are going to be treated as EU for 3 years, because that's the kind of refugee deal here. And so Ukraine gets EU playerhood for 3 years. Football Manager goes a step further here, and they actually take the sanctions that are in real life against club owners and they put them in the game. I'm talking the sanctions on Chelsea. What they're saying here, that means that stuff is in the game, but they also say if a club is up for sale, it will very likely be sold in the first season after the update. So if you take over Chelsea, you're probably going to end up with a new owner, or any other club that happens to be owned by a Russian oligarch that's facing sanctions. Well, those sanctions if the owner's not looking to sell, are going to affect you very, very, very severely. That's also not the only financial impact you'll get hit with in 22.4. There is also an accurate adjustment of sponsorships. So if clubs losing sponsorships, that is reflected monetarily in the game. Then, as Miles said, they had to go under the hood and make changes to things like how likely players were to transfer to clubs in affected regions. So it's something that's going to come up when you're trying to sign players. It's something that's going to come up in press conferences if you're a club that is affected. And other small tweaks like Russian boards now won't ask for you to make it into European competition. This by far is the biggest adjustment after the update. This is the biggest adjustment. If you want to start with 22.4, then you can. There doesn't seem to be any significant match engine changes. There's the one big patch that'll affect everybody about loans. And other than that, it's changing crashes, making things work better. And this, and your general transfer updates. But this is significant, opens up potentially some fun new saves, but is a really good adjustment, honestly, by FM to try and reflect the real world. I know they try not to reflect the real world all the time because when COVID happened and everything got shut down, FM obviously didn't just like put that into the game. But this is, it's an interesting move, and you have to put a lot of work in to reflect like sanctions on club owners and reduction of sponsorships. So this is where most of the energy went in on the update. I hope you enjoy it. Maybe you start a save on 22.4 now, but that is the latest and final update, I believe, to FM 22. We'll see. There might be another one around the corner. As you might have noticed, the person on this channel has recently started a TikTok. You also might not have noticed, and you might think that's a pretty stupid app. I certainly don't understand it. But what you need to know is that he's releasing things that wouldn't fit into full videos as tips to make you better at Football Manager on TikTok, including this helpful little tip that came out in a TikTok last week. But you missed it because you weren't following the TikTok. But since you watched the end of the video, I've been given the task of telling you this now. If you want to keep up with all the small tips that pop up on the TikTok in the future, the link to follow it is down in the description. As for this tip, if you go into training and you go into individual and you click down on each of these players, you will see nothing in the top right corner right now. But if you look back at our streams from earlier, you will notice that I am doing something very particularly in each one of these matches from the Streamer Showdown. Or before, or more importantly, once a week. It is a free boost every single time you get an email about your training performances. Every week, you praise everybody that hits at least a 7.8, and you criticize everybody that's below a 6.5. Once you do that, you get a free shot of morale every week with every player on your team. In the past, the players would get mad if you praised them too many times in a row, but now they never get mad when you praise them for training, and they never get mad when you criticize them for training under a 6.5. If they do, I have never heard about it, and I have never seen it, and I play this game probably more than you do, which would make sense considering it is my entire job. So enjoy the free morale boost. Seriously, this can make all the difference, and you will see a noticeable improvement in your dynamics every time you do it, and it happens immediately. You see it in the club atmosphere. It's perfect. And I know one thing at the end of this tip. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Zed Lasso out. If you missed the original video about the winter update, that is going to be right up there. You can check that out. It's got a much longer change list and affected gameplay as well. Came out a few weeks ago. That combined with this creates the final version of FM22 for you to play for the next 6 months.